Hey, my name is Kevin, and today I'm joined not by Mike, but by Austin.
Yeah, me, in person.
And on this week's episode, we talk about what it's like to really work with Mike. You don't want to miss that one. Also, we talk about how I got Austin into hunting, how Austin got me into traveling. Austin, we talk about you transitioning from a painter to a full-time drone pilot.
Yep.
Not a side gig anymore.
Nope.
It's the real thing.
Yep.
So we talk about that and more. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
This is a little weird, I must say.
It is weird because usually I don't really have to think about whatever I'm going to talk about. It's just Mike starts talking, and then
it's just like you just fill in.
I just occasionally say things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And now,
Yeah.
actually, Mike is at a show.
Yep.
No, that's a lie. He's at not a show. He's doing a collaboration with about 6 or 8 other hunting-related YouTubers.
Yeah. And it's just like you kind of have to, you want to keep the podcast going, like whether or not Mike's around, right?
Well, that's the question. The question's going to be, is it a mistake?
Well, yeah, that's
true. Is it a mistake? That's the big question.
Yeah, I mean, are you saying, might I be a mistake, Kevin?
No, not you, Austin.
Yeah.
It's not about you being a mistake. It's really more about,
gotcha.
Does anybody care?
Does anybody
Mike
care?
Is not here?
Right.
That's probably
the
question.
That's true.
And I'm not sure even if Mike will be back next week, so you might be stuck with somebody other than Mike for 2 podcasts in a row.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to be at Harrisburg. We're going to be there from like a Friday setting up to the following Sunday or something. So I think the show is about 9 days. And,
are you planning to actually go out there?
Yeah, I'll be out there part of the time. Jay will be out there part of the time. And Mike will be out there part of the time.
I'll be out there part of the time.
Austin will be out there part of the time. We have Dallas out there part of the time, possibly. So it's going to be good. I think they say 250,000 people walk through there. I think you probably get tired of talking by the end of the day.
Yeah, I would imagine. But I found that when we did the one here in Mount Hope, I was there for a day. It was just really fun.
Was it?
People love seeing this technology.
Yeah.
Like whether it was people that had seen it before
Yep.
or people that walked past and it was like, what is this? Like what can you even do? And then just to help blow people's minds was just fun.
And I think the whole booth is set up like when you see a 12-foot drone sitting up top and a couple smaller drones with the thermal on.
Yeah.
It is a little bit like, wow, this is real life.
Yeah.
This is real life.
Really
and actually
happening.
the crazy thing is that you could be flying this thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much. And actually, Austin, you're going to be flying an ag drone this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're buying your own equipment, buying your own drone. You're going to be spraying in Indiana.
Yep.
So you're going to be out there flying your own 12-foot drone. How does that feel?
Yeah, I just feel so last week. So I'm the trailer setup that we're doing with a couple of the guys that are locally from my area. I got to crack this thing.
Yeah, do that close to the mic.
Do it close to the mic. I kind of missed that one. I'm kind of a newbie at this, so.
It's fine, Austin.
But
we'll
it was so last week we were working at getting the setup to go take a class for the applicator's permit, and then doing the whole medical exam and doing that, and all of a sudden what looked really overwhelming, there is a ton of stuff to do. I had to get in contact with a lawyer to do the exemption for what was the 44807 or something. I forget. I
should be
numbers.
able to just pull the numbers out of my head, but
I'm
not going to say anything because if we're wrong, Mike will
he'll let us
never
know.
let us forget.
Never let it. But anyway, all of a sudden realize, okay, I'm getting the ball rolling on this, and it actually isn't as overwhelming as I thought. You just need places to start.
Yeah. And it's helpful for you, right? If you have somebody like Mike telling you, here's the first step, here's what you need, kind of lays it out.
Yeah.
But man, I remember when I was getting my applicator's license, it's like every state does it different.
Yep.
And you can go either do a class or you can just do self-study, and I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot
It is.
And all I wanted is just somebody to say, this is the course you got to take. This is the test you got to take. So for the applicators, right, you need your, is there 2 or 3 kind of cores or parts of it that you need?
Yeah, well, there's the main core part, the way that I understand it, and then you can add on categories. So you need to add on your aerial. The class that I'm taking is down at OSU, and they have a morning session that's just a training session for anybody that wants to, like be a helper or something like that. Then the afternoon section is for you as the applicant, like the person that's going to be licensed.
Yeah.
And then you take an exam.
Yep.
And hope for the best.
And that the aerial is the same one that helicopter pilots, airplane pilots take.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll be buying a helicopter next. Who knows? Like,
I think that is a 20-year ago thing or a 5-year ago thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, just more like for fun.
For fun, yeah.
Definitely not because I think it'd be the most efficient way to spray fields, because like drones is the future. But like, okay, talk about this 12-foot drone.
Yeah, yep.
So we have some sitting here. This is the studio / shipping place slash office, like everything. And this place is filling up. But anyway, I thought, Kevin, that I might just be able to put the seat in the back of my, or like the box.
Oh, put the drone in the back of your car?
Yeah.
Or you have an SUV? What do you drive?
Well, I have an SUV. I think it could get in there, but I was just thinking my car, I could maybe like lay the back seat down or whatever, just like a little Honda Civic. And then I took a look at the box that the drone is in. No.
Not going to work.
Not going to work.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah, no, it is. And even the box that it comes in, it's like, I think they're rated at 170 pounds, empty, without the generator and all the, the batteries and everything else that you got to add to it. It's just a core drone. And it was last week that we got our first shipment of, T40 drones that we're going to be selling for this agricultural season.
Yeah.
And it happened to be a day when it was snowing like crazy outside. There was about 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground. And we don't have a dock. I mean, we are, we're kind of bursting at the seams here and probably upgrading to a different facility next year. But for this year, it's like, let's just figure out, make do, work with what we got. Small business, growing, trying to be smart about how we grow. So Mike was out there in the skid steer in the snow, sliding around, unloading this freight truck.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Seriously, I walked into this building the first time in September.
September of 23.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're in the end of January, which today is an exciting day. We should talk a little bit about today, what's going to happen later on.
So by the time you see this,
that's true.
A winner has been picked for the drone giveaway, the drone kit giveaway. The plan is that's going to happen tonight at some point, and Mike's going to, pick an entry out of a hat, and either if you have a phone on your order, we'll give you a call. Otherwise, it'll be, I'll send you an email, which will be a little anticlimactic if I'm being honest.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to when I first walked in this building, September 2023, there was nothing here except for just a desk, I think, in the corner, and just a place where we could have like a shelf for merch. And like fast forward to where we are now, like we're stumbling over stuff.
And I'd say you built the studio behind us, right?
I guess I did, yeah.
So it's like
I helped fill it up.
You helped fill it up. Yeah, you're partially to blame here for this.
Yeah, I guess I can take some of that blame.
We got a studio here. We're going to be doing some classroom stuff in this space. Yeah. Coming up, we have 2 dates in March. I think they're both Fridays. And the idea is you can either buy a drone. We'll help you unbox it and get from never having flown a DJI drone to feeling super confident and enjoying flying it. Or if you've already flown it and you just want to hone your skills, learn some tips and tricks, and spend a day with Mike and the crew, you can definitely sign on. Find it on our website. It's called Thermal Training with Mike. And so, we'll be hosting that here. And then in the corner, like you were saying, we have a bunch of T40s stuck over there. Man, we are bursting at the seams right now with trying to get these orders of, it's going to be Wild March shipped out. I think we've shipped out about half of the orders, and we're just gonna over the next week we hope to get all those out, maybe 2 weeks. We're doing it as fast as we can, and I think we're on track to hopefully hit our expected delivery of February 5 to 15 or exceed it. So some of you have already gotten the merch. A lot of you will be getting it next week.
So Kevin, I have a question for you, because this is not a question that Mike would ask you.
Okay.
But like, what is it like to actually work with Mike? Because Mike isn't going to sit here and be like, hey, what is it like to work with me?
Right.
Because he's just going to say, it's probably awesome, but like, he's not here.
Yeah. So let's spill the beans.
Spill the beans. Like, what is it like to work with that guy?
Yeah. Wow. That's what's it like to work with Mike? Yeah. Wow. There's so much I could say.
Yeah, I
honestly.
mean, but you want to be careful with your words because he might listen to
Yeah,
this. And
yeah,
so,
you might
know,
listen to it. No, I
you
want to
still
be.
want to be,
Nope, nope. It's like you get the real version.
Get the real version? Okay,
here's the real
here we
version.
go.
What it's like to work with Mike. So, what it's like to work with Mike is like working with a visionary who has tremendous work ethic, unlike anyone I've ever met. I think, almost to a fault. Almost to a fault. So, it's like over the long run, that'll kill you. What's really strong in the short term, it's like it'll kill you in the long term. So. It's like, we got to build in some margin and some rest and, for the man, because the man is focused and he works. And then the man is also a visionary. Like I think I'm somewhat of a visionary, but compared to Mike, he's the visionary. And so one of the ways that it's really fun to work with Mike is he'll walk in, to a meeting and he'll say, here's what I see, guys. I see this, and this is what we're going to do. And I see this, and I think we could do it. And he doesn't know how, but it doesn't worry him, and it doesn't stop him from seeing something that could be. And then that lets me, kind of step in, maybe sometimes like push back. But often it's like, okay, that's a great vision. How do we structure that? How do we set it up? How do we build a team around it? And then that's kind of where I get to, I think, work to my strengths. So yeah. And another thing about Mike, funny thing about Mike is I've actually learned this from Mike. I think it's a good thing. I don't know, but it is so refreshing. It is so refreshing when you pick up the phone. Do you know there's this, like, to me, I absolutely abhor. How's it going? How are you? Good. Are you good?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yep.
You're good. Okay. Everybody's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, it takes 45 seconds to get into like,
Yeah. Like,
question
people don't
for
like want to call you and actually ask you, oh, how are you doing?
Right.
How you're
Yeah.
like it's all to get to the point.
Get to the point, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike is like, first words out of his mouth on the phone call, hey, so I was thinking about, or it's like, hey, so what did you see about, or it's changed the way I talk on the phone. And it's given me, it's like, and I don't know, hopefully I'm not being rude, but then like, I don't know if you've thought about it when I talk to you or talk to, I don't know, I call people, I'm like, hey, so what are you going to, and maybe, I don't know, is that rude?
I mean, I feel like it's probably got to be in certain contexts. Like if you haven't talked to the person for, 2 months or something like that, it'd probably be nice to, make sure they're, not on a hospital bed, somewhere about to pass away. Like to just kind of, check, like kind of as a courtesy thing. Like I think that's good.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody that you're working with daily or just like have this constant communication with, and you just need to use a phone call as a way to keep the communication going, then I think that's good. That's okay.
Yeah, I would not disagree. Yeah. What's it been like for you working with Mike?
Funny story, I think.
We're not sure.
I'm not sure. See, Mike, I watched him on the videos, before I had any idea that I'd even get involved in this drum deer. I knew who Mike was because of watching him on the videos. And so then I had that conversation with you about getting into, trying to find pets. And then you hired me, but I hadn't met Mike yet. Mm-hmm. And so here I am driving along the road down in my area, which is about an hour and a half away from here. And what do you know? There's a spray rig that's alongside the road, and it's like, who else could that be? So I slammed on the brakes, turned around. Sure enough, it was Mike. But like one thing that I've realized about working with Mike, now I film for Mike, and when he's out doing recoveries and stuff, hyper focus when he is actually doing work, like just drilled in, and that's how he was. And it was just like, you really quickly got the sense that be really nice to chat with you, dude, whoever you are. Like, I'm not giving out any autographs. He's probably just thinking, here's this fan that's like, it's Mike, I got to stop. He didn't know that I was going to actually come work for him.
Well, and he had probably a drone in the air.
He had a drone in the air.
He
was spraying, and it was just like, hey, nice talking, but I got to go.
I got some things to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of funny to look back, because it was like, oh, this guy seems like already really stuck up. But then when you actually get to know him, he's pretty legit.
And I think it would be different too if you met him at a show or something where what he's doing is just talking, hanging out.
It's almost laughable to me, when I see the emails come in. Like, okay, I come from a perspective of not knowing Mike at all. I know you,
Yeah.
but didn't
How do you know
the,
me?
the business. Oh, you're my cousin. Yeah, first cousin.
We're first
actually.
cousins.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've known each other for a long time and kind of worked together at different times throughout our lives.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but,
continue.
So got thrusted into drone deer recovery, but after seeing how Mike operates, seeing how you operate, just your passion for helping people in this industry, this business growing, like I find it actually laughable when people, send these comments or emails just being like, oh, this is just such horrible customer service. And just like, just almost to where it's like you guys are lazy, just like you don't care about people. You don't care about responding. Like, no, I have not seen a group of guys more than you and Mike that like care about providing quality service. And it's just because of the growth, some stuff just slips through the cracks but it tears you up when you find that, like when it bothers you, both you guys, that like when that stuff happens. And that's what I've appreciated about working with this company, realizing that the growth is happening so fast that there are going to be places that you can't provide the service that you want, but it's not because you don't want to. It's like you're growing, you're building the team, you're bringing people around you to make it better. And
it seems like anybody who has like grown a business before, like what we hear from them is like, just stay on it, improve customer service. It's all going to be built on service, and you can't build a company without it. So that is our focus. And I do think though, like I'm just thinking of a time right now, I think 2 weeks ago, where we sold a drone kit to a gentleman, and the DJI Care basic code that we got from DJI was incorrect. And so we can complain to our supplier, get a new one, but by the time that we did that, gave him a new one, it was past the 72 hours to buy into his. And he texted and he said, hey, this has just it's been a pain in the butt, like dealing with you guys. And I feel terrible because it's like it is a pain. Like that was not an easy transaction for the gentleman. And so what we did for him is like, I personally called him on my cell. I was like, hey, listen, this has been frustrating. I'm so sorry. Can I please, I can walk you through how to activate it through a video direct to DJI, or if it's easier, let me send you a label, send the drone back to us, and me and my team will do it. We'll activate it for you. And either way you go about it, it's a pain. It's not as like, but I guess the point is, I do feel, and I appreciate you saying that, and I do feel like whenever we drop a ball, like we're going to try to make it right.
Yes, I have heard so many of those conversations, whether it's you or whether it's Mike, being like, "Hey, I'm calling that guy personally and trying to make things better." And I've really appreciated that. Just as somebody that's just more employee basis, just. Being able to see that, just it's been really fun to be part of that.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And I a lot of the comments that you get, or I guess, you have an interesting perspective, because when did you start flying a drone? Like you've had your Part 107 for years.
Yeah. I've had my Part 107 probably like for 6 or 7 years now.
When did you buy the Matrice?
So it was late October into September, I believe, sometime around there.
September, October, in that time frame.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because people hear Mike, and I just responded to an email this morning of a guy who was saying, hey, it seems like you guys are over exaggerating how many calls there are and how many, it's like you're over exaggerating things just to sell drone kits. And I tell him what I would tell you guys. I tell everybody this. It's like we actually have a whole podcast on how to do market research. And you better believe that we're going to tell you what our experience has been. And that's why I'm curious to kind of lead into what your experience has been. But you shouldn't do it based on what I'm telling you. Like I'll tell you how to research deer, harvested in your county, and talk to other pilots, talk to dog guys. Go out there and do your own research, and don't just jump off a cliff based on us. And I would tell you this, if you have a bad feeling about it, like you don't think that we're being honest, or it just doesn't feel right, don't do it. Like a guy messaged me this morning and was like, hey, I feel like, you guys are hyping it up. And a lot of people, there's a lot of Amish, because this year, Mike would have sent you a bunch of calls.
Yeah.
Other guys a bunch of calls, and then you got calls direct
Yeah.
through the website as well.
Yeah.
But Mike did the calls that were close, right?
Yeah.
Because Mike is not just a content creator; he's also helping to run a business.
Right.
And so there's a lot of Amish that appear in the videos this year, and I guess he was wondering. It seems like I think what he was saying is it seems like nobody but the Amish is really interested in this service.
Oh.
And if you don't have Amish in your area, it's not going to work.
Oh, yeah, that is
So-
that's not true because so we had gotten a drone and we had started doing the looking for pets, but we hadn't actually been listed directly on your site.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of a sudden at some point it was just like, wait, like I have a background in hunting, largely thanks to you.
Yeah, you told me off camera that I got you into hunting. I'm like, how did I ever get anybody
this
into
is
hunting?
so funny. I had never thought of it until this morning when I was driving up here. It's like, what am I going to talk about with Kevin on this podcast? And I was like, wait a second here.
Did I get you into hunting?
So we visited you, my dad and I, in El Salvador.
El Salvador, yeah. I grew up in El
I
Salvador.
was probably, say, 7, 8 years old when we took a trip down. And one of your requests was for us to bring a game down called Deer Hunter.
Yes.
And we took the plastic off of that thing.
Baby.
And we plugged that thing into the computer, downloaded it, with those, they call them
probably was that
disc,
CD?
I think that's what they call them.
Before the days of DVDs.
Yeah. And, downloaded that thing, and we played Deer Hunter. And we even figured out that, so there's this, box that you can select the area that you want to go hunt.
Yeah.
And then there's a cheat code that you can put in that makes so that you can actually just see where the deer is, on the map. And then you just bring your scope over that, and then that opens up that hunting area. All very 90s, graphics
Windows
and stuff like
98
that. Right.
style.
Yeah. But you could just land on that spot and go into the hunting area and boom, you could shoot yourself a deer, and we played that.
With the cheat codes, probably.
With the cheat codes, of course.
Yeah.
Because Kevin, who else? He knows that those are just out there. I would have never. I could have played Deer Hunter for
I don't know.
years.
Did we Google
never
them?
knew that.
I don't know how we found them.
I don't know. But anyway, all to say is that game stayed with you in El Salvador.
Yeah.
I went home, but I had
But
to.
that was that.
I had to get my own version of Deer Hunter.
So
then.
are you telling me that was one of the key things that got you interested?
Well, I'm just
in
saying that
hunting?
I never really knew hunting really, it wasn't really a thing in my mind.
Yeah.
But we started doing it, and I was just then when I was 13 is when I went on my first elk hunt.
Yeah,
A guy
nice.
actually tapped me. He's the one that I would attribute to really getting me into it. But I played Deer Hunter on that Windows 95 or 98 or whatever for a long time, largely in part of
that's
you.
amazing.
So
yeah, and Austin, you've kind of done the same thing for me in getting me into I'd say travel. I think I visited last count between 30 and 35 countries.
Oh yeah.
And when I was 20, I don't know, early 20s, you invited me on a 30-day trip. We went to Vietnam, Cambodia. We trekked across Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
And probably my favorite memory from that whole trip was buying tickets on an overnight tourist bus, I think from Bangkok to Vietnam or Ho Chi Minh City or something. And they'll sell tickets, sell the tourist tickets. Well, there's no room on the bus, but we'll still sell you a ticket.
Oh yeah.
And I remember how fired up you got. You told
my goodness.
You told that bus driver, we're getting on this bus. 5 of us guys, we're getting on this bus. There's no doubt about it. And he said the only way you're getting on this bus is if you get underneath with the baggage.
That's right.
And so we did.
Yeah.
And we slept in there on top of everybody's suitcases in pitch black, with the little phone lights. We played card games and
such
slept.
a good time.
And then at some point knocked on the door. Hey, this is the restroom stop. Get out, do your thing, get back in there. 12 hours, I think, was what we were in there. Pitch black. And made it safely. And
yeah, absolutely. And I think the funny thing that I remember from that was that I had kind of the thing that had got me fired up was that if we're going to be luggage on this bus, then I expect to pay a luggage price, but he wanted to charge me for what experienced people have laying flat.
Which was a flat lay down.
Yeah, it was
air
a lay down
conditioning,
like sleeper
TV.
bus.
Yeah.
I did not want to pay that price, but he was adamant and said that if he gives discount, there's no profit. I was like, well, okay, but that's not my problem. And he did give it a little discount, and we went under the bus.
Yeah.
And
Good times.
Yeah, it was
Good
it was
times.
great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, Austin, let's talk about, before we wrap this up, let's talk about what your experience has been. You've been doing pet recoveries, you've been doing deer recoveries, and now you're going into ag.
Yeah.
So I guess, is there work out there? What has it been hard to find? What have you done that's been successful? Just kind of bring us up to speed with your drone journey.
Yeah, so I guess we kind of pivoted from what I was saying. Like we ended up getting on the site for deer recovery, and then all of a sudden things just exploded.
Because it was right during that rut.
Right.
The lead up to
it was right
Yeah.
in that rut
Yep.
time, and it was just like I did the first night. I ended up doing 3 calls and didn't finish until like 6 a.m. And I had one. Mike was like, "Hey, could you get this one at 6 o'clock?" And I was still finishing up that third one, and so he sent somebody else. But I could have kept going with 4 calls, and it was like I've been out. I had started at like 10 o'clock that night.
That was the first night you ever did deer
It
recovery.
was like the first night. I had done one night prior to that.
For a little doe or something? Somebody from your church?
It was actually a deer. It was through, I forget how I got I think Mike maybe had just said, "Hey, you want to do this one?" Or I forget all the details, but like we hadn't been set up on the website yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole through the rut and everything was just crazy, and it was all stuff that was fairly close to my area down there. I mean, I'd say an hour or two drive.
Yeah. From here.
From my area
you're
down.
saying from radius from where you live.
From where I live. I live an hour and a half from here, but then most of my calls were a good hour or so away from there, and it was just
started with
down,
a bang.
And it's just now that we've been doing a lot of pet calls, that's picking up speed as well as just people know that that's an option, and like people in our area, like some admins of our Facebook, like for lost pets group, they just love what we're doing, and they're helping us spread the word. This is something that we can do in our area, and now doing that, like looking for like it was 2 days ago, I was looking for a little Chihuahua, but I was so confident that I would be able to find it if it was in the search area, because I was going to the customer and saying, "You know what? I see this thermal. I'm about 200 feet in the air. Zoom in, boom, a rabbit."
Yeah.
Or like, "Hey, let me show you this. I can see this from my screen, this little tiny screen, and I'm 200 feet in the air. Oh, squirrel."
Boom.
It's just like, so if a Chihuahua, it's like seems small, but like that's so much bigger than a bunny. I'm gonna be able to see it.
Did you find it?
So it ended up we heard then that while we were searching, that somebody found it alongside of the road and had gotten hit.
Because that's the thing. So pets have a whole other kind of behavior. I imagine there's a different learning curve for finding a pet, tracking a pet than there is for deer.
Absolutely, yeah. And to go to say, like, now that I get, like, it's been 2 weeks ago since I did my last call, because you're in the end of the season, things are winding down. But it was just like looking for deer is almost like you almost do it in your sleep, because it's so easy. Like looking for deer is so easy. Like when you're looking for small little pets, and all of a sudden you go out
so the
looking
deer
for deer
is fatally wounded, so it's not gonna, it's like, unless you push it, it's not gonna go just miles and miles. A dog may, depending on the situation. So deer is easy mode, is what I hear you telling me.
Yeah. And I have like a whole, like, the data that we're collecting, like we put it all into a spreadsheet so we can track like how long we've been searching, what type of animal, because we're wanting to collect this data so that we can educate people. But I don't know that this is the podcast to educate about pet stuff, because it's like, if you want to hear more about what we've been learning in the pet space, then maybe just drop a comment. I don't think we have to take the time here, but there's just some fascinating, like, just as far as like figuring out how long we should search and stuff like that before it just becomes like looking in a needle haystack. Like, we're collecting that data, and I can give you some pretty, I can give you some of the stuff that we've been learning from that. So
I think it's awesome. And what I've heard from, some of our other like deer pilots, like, Mike and Jay, it's like they get fired up about finding deer. And, it's like the rush for them is helping a hunter find a buck that otherwise he would never have been able to recover. And there's just no better feeling than that.
Yeah.
But to go out there and find a pet, it's just not, it doesn't stir a passion with them. And that's when I think from our very first conversations, you told me, hey, for me, what gets me pumped up more than about anything is just finding someone's dog.
Yeah.
Helping them, like, bring that dog back.
Yeah.
I think the content you're making on YouTube is phenomenal. And I think that you should check out, by the way, Drone Pet Recovery.
Yeah.
If you haven't already seen it, it's like there's good videos in the works.
Yeah.
Really cool recoveries. I think, maybe a lot of people watch this for the deer content, but there isn't a space to explore like what gets you excited.
Yeah. And I think for people that are watching this that maybe are like actual pilots, like, man, one of the things that gets me, because I love doing the deer recoveries too. I'm a hunter, so that gets me pumped up too. But it's just like, man, get pumped up about doing deer recoveries, get pumped up about doing pet recoveries, and like all of a sudden you have this season where you can be really big. Like, if you're just focused so much just on deer, then depending on your area, maybe it's not enough to be like a full-time thing for you in that season. But if you mix pets in that as well, and you push that hard in your area, like that you have this technology, like, I just want to be out flying drones, during that season.
So you've gotten pumped up about deer, about pet, and now we're going to see if you get pumped up about ag.
Yeah, I feel like that's
if you get pumped about all those three things, you're going to fly a drone year round.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that like is so exciting about this, is because ag and then the thermal space, they just pair so well.
They are like this.
If you want to do both, then I think you can make a career. If you only choose to do one, then it kind of has to be a side hustle.
Gig. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you, before doing this, okay, so you're a pastor. You were painting. You were doing interior house painting before you came and did this. Did a good job, kind of bored. And for me, it's just phenomenal to see how an entry, like for you, it was an entry through drone deer recovery into the thermal drone space. But I mean, you're not going to be working here that much longer, because as soon as ag comes and all this other stuff, like, you're going to be a full-time drone pilot. Yeah. And I'm going to be sad to have you go, but it's going to be awesome to have you out there, owning your own drone business, creating your own content, and thermal, deer, pet, ag. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So it's exciting, and I just never thought, even 6 months ago, that being in the drone industry, making that a full-time job, not even a possibility. Wow. What?
It's like, imagine a job where you get to fly a drone and get paid. Yeah.
So pretty awesome.
What else do we talk about, Austin? Because you're also our producer, right? You're like, who knows where this podcast is going to go. Once Austin leaves and gets too busy with drones, how do we produce this podcast? You'll probably see it go.
I don't know. The thing about, the awesome thing about being, a faith-based company is just realizing that, God truly does bring people when you need them.
It's been amazing. You know what? And just a God story, because we are unashamedly like Mike and I go to the same church. The way that we met was at a coffee shop when I was the week after a video production business that I co-owned. We couldn't figure out how to make it work, and we had to shut it down. And I was just there sitting there like, what do I do next? And Mike walks in. He's like, I got this crazy idea. He hands me his credit card, and he says, help me build a website, a brand. And then that's how we got started. But when I was trying to hire the first kind of customer service person, put out something on LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn, Indeed. And I must have not. It was a remote job. 1,200 applications by the next morning.
Oh my goodness!
It's like, how do you even go through 1,200 applications? And there was only one person out of the 1,200 applications, because I think it's so easy on Indeed. You go like submit.
Oh, okay.
Send. You have your pre-made resume. Send. There's only one person that went to the work of looking at our website, contacting me directly, finding an email for me, sending me a photo of they were in the hunting space also, and she had a passion about hunting. And she just went the extra mile. And it's like, those are the people and we hired her, and she's been phenomenal.
Amazing.
So I would just say we're looking to hire in the customer service space, producer space. Some of it's remote. Some of it I'd like for you to be here in Ohio. But if you want to join the drone deer recovery team and you think that you might have a skill set that you could help us in the growth curve that we're in, my email is kevin@dronedeerrecovery.com. Send me an email. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and tell me how you see fitting into this team and helping us build something this year, because we will be hiring probably 5 to 10 people this year. So looking forward to that. And I'd love if somebody wants to raise their hand and say, hey, I think I could help with this. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
So I think we've been talking for a while, Austin. It's good to have you on the show. I feel like, you are a blessing. We're thankful for what you've contributed to Drone Deer, and you've been instrumental in when my workload is kind of overwhelming. You've helped me tackle things. Super appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see more of you over the next couple months and year. So any last words?
Yeah, I don't know. I just, I definitely feel more comfortable being behind the camera, producing, pushing all the buttons and everything like that. But this has been fun. Like, it's been good to, mix things up. And I think it's just good to mix it up for our audience too. Like, they don't always have to see Mike, like, no, I'm just kidding.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So guys, thanks for watching. And as Mike would say, we'll see you on the next one.